too. And guess what? As humans, one of the 3 essential things we need just to be comfortable in life is shelter. And so if that's one of the things we need, why not make it beautiful, functional, and us? Like, make it look like us, feel like us, like a reflection of who we are and how we feel. For me, I learned very, very early on how my environment affected my psyche, affected how I felt, you know what I mean? Like how sensitive I was to those spaces. That's how I always approach design, and that's how I always approach the concepts that I come up with for my clients, so that my clients can feel good in their space, like point blank period. I'm Pamela Williams, and I'm the founder of Pamela Williams Interior Design. In this course, I am going to use this book, Vintage Black Glamour, as my inspiration to help guide you through the steps that I take in order to transform inspiration into an interior design concept. I've really been working on interior design projects and just little things and just all into interior design since I was like, I don't know, 10. For me, it's just the psychology of it, like how it makes us feel. Like, I have always been very sensitive to spaces around me. I can remember being like that from when I was like a little kid, like going over to my friends' houses, and you know, I had my own house. My mom was definitely a bomb decorator, or my grandma really, but getting it from them and then going to other friends' houses and stuff, and it was just a different environment. You know, everybody has a different environment. And this concept board is going to include like color palettes. We're gonna have furniture pieces. We're gonna have everything you'll need for your actual space based on your inspiration, so that, you know, you can communicate your ideas to a client if you are doing this for other people, or you know where your vision is going, and you really can give yourself a direction on where you want to go with your own interior design or interior decoration cut. First thing you want to do is dissect your client goals. When you dissect your client goals, basically all you're doing is developing a design solution for your client needs. And when you think about your client needs, or you think about yourself, just think holistically, think objectively, like really think about like your lifestyle, you know what I mean? Like, what do you do on a day-to-day basis? Or what does your client do on a day-to-day basis? And that would be something you would have to further investigate and, you know, ask your client and do that kind of questionnaire research kind of situation. But here is an example of a client. The room that we're designing is going to be their living room. They have a budget between $500 and $7,500, which their style is glam, kind of vintage, mid-century modern, which I think will kind of weave in together very, very nicely. Who's in this space? The partner and the pets. Why are they redesigning? It's time for a refresh. As simple as that. How finished is their space? Well, they're somewhere in between. So that tells me that, you know, they might have some pieces that they want to use that's already existing, and they might just want to switch out a few things, and you just need to add a few things. And then which new products do they need to add? So here it's telling us right here, there's a sectional, a coffee table, an area rug, art, and lighting. Okay, so when I begin to think about how I'm going to design this space, I absolutely positively have to consider all of these things to make sure my client knows I'm listening. And then that also helps to build that trust with the client designer relationship. Favorite stores, West Elm, Article Arterial. So something like this, asking your clients a question like this, or asking yourself a question like this, will also help you to start to think about like the style of a store, because every store has a different aesthetic. They just do. So like a West Elm, Article, and Arterials, those 3 stores are very, you know, modern, more transitional, more contemporary kind of stores. So that really tells me that my client is more on the more modern, contemporary side versus like more of a traditional or bohemian kind of side. So the color preferences here are a mix of warm and cold neutrals, which is perfect. So they want some nice mix-ups of neutrals. And then some specific color preferences include blue, yellow, black, white, and gold. So these colors are absolutely like, yes, I want to see these colors in the space. So what am I going to do as a designer? I'm going to definitely make sure these colors in the space. So for you as an individual, you know, if you have a favorite color, or, you know, you have a color that's just been chasing you, like sometimes in life, for me anyway, I will like be moving about and I will start to notice that I am drawn to a particular color like over and over and over again. I don't know if that's happened to you before, but pay attention. Maybe it has. And it's like, it's in phases though, because the colors change. It's never the same color. So for a while, like back when I was in undergrad, like I was really, really drawn to purples and like violets and like indigos and that kind of color. And that color symbolizes something. And then once I graduated from school, like I was more into like the blues and like reds and creams. And then like more recently, I've been into like rose quartz and like really light, soft pink colors. Like, so I'm saying all this to say, at each point that I was drawn to a certain color, I was in a different space mentally. I was in a different place in life. And I do strongly believe that there is a psychology behind colors. And when we are drawn to a color, or we're always particularly noticing a certain color as we move about in our daily lives, it's because it's, you know, it's kind of connected to how we are feeling in the moment, if that makes sense. It's like it's all connection, kind of mental psychology, like attraction, like this is where your mental is, so this is kind of what keeps showing up for you. All these things are the things that you need to start thinking about as you begin to fulfill your client goals. The next thing that is important to us is favorite things to do. And our favorite things to do is, you know, the spa, shopping, yoga, hosting friends, mood of a space, cozy, inviting, bold, sensual, livable, luxe. So that's really important to us. The mood of the space is ingrained in like the DNA of the space. It needs to be a part of the foundation. It needs to be part of the middle, and it needs to be part of the icing on top. Boom. With all that being said, with our client example and what our client goals are and how their lifestyle is set up, these are some client drivers that I would probably apply to this client, at least to get started, you know, and as you continue to work forward and move forward, you want to just continue to ask, continue to learn about yourself, continue to really pay attention to what you are drawn to and what is just following you. And that's just like the very basic start of really uncovering some new things for yourself and or for your client. So the first thing is the mid-century modern with elements of glam and vintage. So definitely want to stick to their design aesthetic. The second thing is they need probably some very durable, low maintenance kind of furniture because they do stay with pets. Then for the furniture, lighting, and art, it needs to be very functional for their lifestyle. And then you also want to incorporate neutrals with bold pops of color. So finishes and lighting that adds coziness, sensuality to the space. It's going to be the last thing. And that's really going to be the thing that adds that icing on top with the, you know, the accent lighting and the coziness and like the finishes and the decor. And all that good stuff is going to add that extra layer of Now that you've got your client and your 5 design drivers, the second step is going to be discovering your inspiration. That's the start. And your inspiration can be anything. It can be absolutely anything. And I challenge you to not only go with things that could possibly be visual, but try to use your 5 senses. I'm going to take my inspiration, which is this book, and I'm going to start pulling it apart and really dissecting now my inspiration so that I can really see the elements that are based on this book. With mind mapping, it's a technique that I use, designers use it, architects use it, and even other artists that use different mediums for problem solving to help to flesh out an idea and to really just, it's like making it explode, like you want to explode it, and then you just want to like start to scale it back to very, very minimal like concept. So a mind map consists of a central word or a concept that has about 3 to 10 main ideas that relate to that word. And then you want to take each child word and add 3 to 10 main ideas that relate to that word. What you want to do is begin to create this mind map that's going to be like a web that's going to like explode, and you're going to reduce it back down. What I have here is my page. I'm writing Vintage Black Glamour in the middle because this is where I want to start. This is my inspiration. I know everything is going to spawn out from this. Then I'm going to start to begin to write down a few words that now describe what I can see or what I am drawn to from this inspiration. So as I continue to draw out what I'm drawn to with my inspiration, like the words and the visuals that are coming to my mind are just kind of just popping out randomly everywhere. So I'm just like kind of writing down as much as I can, like as soon as I think of it. And your words don't have to be perfect. They don't need to be all related. They can be completely unrelated. And that's really the beauty of doing a mind map and just like allowing your brain to just kind of like flow freely, because you never know what you can discover when you just like let go. Don't make it rational. Don't make it make sense. Just write whatever your brain just thinks based on what drew you to this inspiration. Remember, this is the discovery exercise to hone in on your design concept. So don't be afraid to go crazy. Don't be afraid to write down words that absolutely don't make sense, are unrelated. You can also use some color to add a little visual connectivity for your thoughts. So you can kind of start to have like a colorful chain link that pops out to help you clearly see how your inspiration is starting to shape into a concept. And then make sure you have an open mind and have fun. So our next step is translating this inspiration into visuals. So finally, you've got your inspiration, you've got your client goals, you've got your mind map in place, you've thought of all these different ways to think of your inspiration. And so now what you want to do is start to transform those words on that paper to actual visuals. You want to create visuals that represent your inspiration, and you want to select powerful images that kind of help you to start developing a story for why you chose this inspiration, how it relates to your interior design project. So you don't really want to pick interior spaces, because then that's just kind of going to muddle what you're doing with your personal inspiration, because now you're looking at another person's inspiration in their space and how they put some things together versus you doing it. This is very broad. You really just don't want any interior or like decoration or anything like that in this part of the process. For the example, this is the vision board that I created for my inspiration. All I did was go to Pinterest, and I started there and began to do some searches on what I had pulled apart in my mind map. For this round, you will need software that allows you to manipulate photos like Photoshop, PowerPoint, Microsoft Word, or even InDesign, and the internet to help you search and source for your pieces. And the next step of this concept development course, which we want to do, is transform inspiration into our actual interior design solutions. So organized concept boards will help to visually communicate to yourself or your client what you're trying to do. It'll help to keep all parties on the same page, and it'll really map out that design direction to help you stay focused and to help you really skinny out all that extra stuff that's going on in the world, so you can really just stay focused on what you're trying to do and what your design intent is. It's also going to help you with your client designer trust, because then you're going to be more confident in what you're presenting to your client. You're going to be more confident in what you're doing, what your direction is, and it's going to help your client feel better as well, because they know that you're confident in what you're doing, you know what you want to do, and all that good stuff. So, for example, for the sofa I want to choose, just looking for my sofa. I do want to try to stay within the limits of what I had set out in my mind map for my vision board and all that good stuff. And so I do want to pick something that's very clean, that's very minimal, but still kind of has like a glam touch. So I do think I want to incorporate the glam aspect of this for the sofa within the fabric finish that I choose. So I want to go with something more velvet, because velvet tends to be a little more luxurious, a little bit more plush and cozy, and kind of like gives a glamorous style, you know, depending on how you pair that velvet with other like metallic and shiny finishes. So I'm looking here, and now I want to I like this sofa. I think it looks really good. It has a great shape. And now I want to go in and pick which color fabric I want. I think what I really want to try to do is pull in that blue color I had in my vision board. And so if I can find one that's kind of similar to that, there it is. I'm going to go with the peacock. And so now I'm just going to take this sofa and incorporate it into my concept board and present this to my client as my idea of the overall shape for the sofa that they should get, the overall color for the sofa that they should get, and just how the legs are set up, how the legs are nice and like on like stiletto legs. So it's very like sexy. It's kind of like glamorous. It is a stately kind of base for a sofa, and it does add a little bit more luxury versus more of like a more relaxed kind of comfort. This luxurious glam type of comfort. And then also with the shape of the arms on the sofa does give me a little mid-century modern flair. So I think the sofa does really well to be a solution for my design client. Here is an example of my concept board that I put together based on my vision board. And basically here, I wanted to use the color that was in my vision board as like that foundation piece of pop of color that's gonna go in the space with all these other warm and cool neutrals. And then I just wanna kind of take those warm and cool neutrals just to kind of balance out that one central pop of color in the sectional. So then I want to pull in more of the color scheme through the area rug. You've got this beautiful croc skin wall covering that I found during the vision board that I definitely think we should try to incorporate in this design or something similar. Because again, this is just a concept. So what I really am trying to communicate to my client is, hey client, I think that it'd be great if we could incorporate some kind of animal print and some kind of animal fur in your space, because not only will that add some more coziness and comfort, it's going to add a different dimension of glam and luxury that you like for your aesthetic. Then down below, I've got a nice organic shaped coffee table finish in this antique gold, like brushed finish, which is beautiful. It really reminds me of that metallic I saw in the book that's inspiring for this whole concept, as well as just the organicness of just womanhood and just being powerful. And then to the bottom right, I have this very clean, crisp, high contrast picture art of this woman with this beautiful big afro that's very organic as well, that will help to complement the coffee table, as well as the lighting that has that nice rounded edge to stimulate more of an inviting feel and a more cozy feel in this living space.
Concept board should evoke the overall mood for your client's space, display elements from your inspiration, and include design solutions to fit your client needs. You will need software that allows for the manipulation of images, such as Photoshop, PowerPoint, InDesign, or Microsoft Word.
Step 5 is to add your finishing touches. What you want to do is to add those notes and your design rationale to your concept board. And what you'll need for this part of your project is whatever software tool you've been using thus far to pull together your concept board. Use that same tool, and then you want to add some text boxes to begin to really describe to your client why you chose these pieces, how they connect to them, and how you know what you're doing. So we've got this beautiful concept board with all these images that have examples of the actual furniture pieces and lighting fixtures and artwork that we think that will look great in their space based on what they want to see. But what we have to do now is formally communicate your design intent and show that you understand your client's design aesthetic. And so by doing that, what you want to do is add more notes, and you also want to add some design rationale to your concept board. So you'll not only have the images there, you'll also have a few keywords that will help your client understand what you're thinking and how you want to flow. Because usually when I'm able to communicate to my client exactly what I'm doing, really having those short, quick descriptions will make it that much more concise, and it'll make it that much more clear exactly what you're looking for in this vast, opportunity of just any kind of style, any kind of design. There's so much you can do. So this is the example of my finished concept board. You see here, I've got quick little notes for my clients. So I've got cozy velvet sectional to help them understand that's kind of the look and feel I want to go for their space. I've got another note saying I want some bold, natural textured accent wall covering and some bold, natural textured throw pillows. So even here, if the client is like, no, hey, that is way too dark, I don't want to go black. Black is a little bit too bold for me. Cool. Do you like the natural aspect of this wall covering? Do you want to keep it natural? Do you want natural as an animal print, or would you prefer floral print? So here again, this is just another way for you to start those creative juices flowing, to get your direction going, and to also get the conversation started as far as how it's going to really come together and how you're really going to do this space so that it's connected to you and it's connected to your client, and to make it that much more meaningful and more of an enjoyable experience while you are in your space or your client is in their space. And then to the far right, you have a nice little couple of sentences that kind of just pull together some ideas over which we want this space to look and feel. So On the right, I just have like a little blurb of what I have going on in the space, what my thoughts are for this space to help to communicate what it's going to look like. So I'm just going to read it to you real quick. Which warm neutrals and emerald blues take over the space to create a sensual, inviting, and cozy living room retreat? So here I pulled out those key words that I know my client wanted their living room to feel like. Natural elements such as crop skin, fur, and organic edges will stimulate your connectivity to nature and well-being. So again, here I'm simply explaining to them how we're going to start to connect their well-being to their space through interior design. Now that you have all these tools, you can use these tools in everyday life. Like take any inspiration at any moment to help you come up with some kind of design solution for whatever your design problem is. So there you have it. That's my full process for turning inspiration into a concept. And once you got your concept, it should be pretty easy to roll on. Thank you so much, and I'll catch you on another class.